From hummed marches sounding somewhat familiar, to certain characters even going out of their way to glare straight down the lens at you. Here are those times Star Wars very much acknowledged itself and those watching at home. I'm Gareth from What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 times Star Wars broke the fourth wall. Number 10, Rey takes the lightsabers back to Tatooine, the rise of Skywalker. While Tatooine would undoubtedly go on to become one of the most pivotal and iconic spots in the Star Wars universe over the course of the Skywalker saga, that still didn't stop a few folks from scratching their heads by the time it played host to the final scene of The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. Sure, the sight of Rey deciding to bury both Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa's lightsabers near the former's homeland was a sweet enough touch, but fans were still left wondering why in the hell Palpatine's granddaughter decided to choose this spot as the burial ground in the first place. Luke had spent much of his time on the planet wishing he was elsewhere, and Leia only ever visited Tatooine on the big screen when rescuing Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. So whatever way you put it, this beat felt like more of a knowing and emotional salute to those in cinemas who had been strapped in for much of the ride up to this point than anything else. Number 9, Jar Jar Binks' fate, Aftermath Empire's End. This calamitous Gungan known as Jar Jar Binks would go on to become the butt of many a Star Wars joke following on from his 1999 debut. On top of having his significance and role in general largely reduced in the wake of The Phantom Menace, The Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams would even reference at one point possibly having Binks' skeleton appear in the desert on Jakku. That ultimately wouldn't come to pass, of course, but one rather poignant piece of fourth wall breaking pertaining to the character did actually pop up in Chuck Wendig's novel Aftermath Empire's End. In this canon book, which takes place in the wake of Return of the Jedi, Binks is described as being a street performer who, after being ostracized and shunned by Gungans and the Naboo, became beloved by refugee children as he goofed around for their enjoyment. Wendig would later add that this was very much a subtle commentary on Star Wars fans' feelings and reactions to the character over the years. Number 8, hey look, it's Boba Fett, A New Hope. Long before he was being a touch overexposed on the small screen, Star Wars fans were simply champing at the bit to get their next hit of bounty hunter goodness. But instead of thinking of a compelling spin-off story to throw this unquestionably cool Beskar armor-wearing badass into the thick of, George Lucas had another ingenious idea on how to capitalize on Fett's unexpected popularity back in the late 90s. During the rejigged scene involving a now CGI Jabba the Hutt conversing with Han Solo, Lucas's 1997 special edition of A New Hope brought with it the pointless return of the bounty hunter first seen in The Empire Strikes Back, really hammering home just how shoehorned Boba was when it came to his superimposed, unexpected and entirely silent cameo. The Jango Fett clone would then sign off his appearance with a not-so-subtle glare down the camera as if to say, "You wanted Boba, I give you Boba." Number 7, Stormtroopers' bad aim is put under the microscope, The Mandalorian. One of the longest running and underlying jokes in the entire Star Wars universe comes in the form of the Empire's choice of Faceless Trooper being quite possibly the worst shot in the galaxy when equipped with a blaster. After initially being built up as formidable foes, known for their ruthlessness and precision by Obi-Wan Kenobi and A New Hope, the evidently poor accuracy of the cheaply decked-out Stormtroopers could only be ignored for so long. Sure enough, when the time came to boot up Disney Plus's first season of The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau gave a knowing Stormtrooper nod to fans of the franchise in the show's 6th episode, The Prisoner. During an exchange between Bill Burr's Mayfield and Pedro Pascal's Mando, the former notes how he was formerly an Imperial sharpshooter. Without missing a beat, Din Djarin quips that's not saying much, pretty much making the aforementioned much ridiculed accuracy of the troops canon in one cheeky line. Number 6, wooden beams being exposed pisses off some fans, The Book of Boba Fett. Though this one is more of an unfortunate mistake than a purely intentional piece of fourth wall smashing, it did still take a number of folks out of Disney Plus's recent Mandalorian spin-off, so it definitely earns a spot on this list. Adding to the gaffe that went down during the second season of the aforementioned Mandalorian that saw a jeans guy rock up in the background of a shot, episode 3 of The Book of Boba Fett also couldn't escape the realities of shooting when it came time to introduce the finished product to audiences. Coming during a sequence which saw one of the biker gang members scooting around Mos Espa, one rather passionate Star Wars fanatic on TikTok was quick to notice that a few wooden beams used to help build the make-believe set were very much exposed as the camera pans from up high. While the infamous Mandalorian jeans guy has since been erased from history altogether, it'll be interesting to see how or even if Lucasfilm/Disney decide to paper over this particular production blunder going forward. Number 5, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. silently feeding a line that would become almost instantly iconic. Those legendary words of a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away soon give way to one of the most rousing scores ever forged, and an opening crawl which subsequently sets the stage for the epic events to come. Yet while all these slowly drifting words and grand orchestra undoubtedly set the tone for the operatic adventures that lie ahead, their very existence completely pulverizes any notion of there being a fourth wall from minute one. Far from jarringly taking audiences out of the action, however, these now legendary floating paragraphs of bright yellow exposition have become a beloved part of the Star Wars cinematic experience, and leave a rather disappointing gaping hole when left out in their traditional form entirely, as seen, or not in this case, in Rogue One and Solo's opening titles. Number 4, the opening crawl of Return of the Jedi is referenced, The Mandalorian. And speaking of those famous stage-setting sentences that kickstart many a Star Wars adventure, Disney Plus's small-screen smash that is The Mandalorian came equipped with a rather cheeky nod to that long-running device in its second season. However, the words seen hovering around an exploding second Death Star during Season 2 Episode 1's flashback sequence also oddly act as yet another Mandalorian fourth wall breaker. When translated from Arabesh to English, the text being projected around the erupting weapon in a Mos Pelgo bar reads, "Little does Luke know that the Galactic Empire has secretly begun construction on a new armored space station, even more powerful than the first dreaded Death Star." On top of being a little odd due to the fact that the second Death Star in question had actually just been blown up, the very existence of this nod to one of the lines in Return of the Jedi's opening crawl works as a cheeky wink to those watching. Number 3, Let the Past Die, The Last Jedi. Of all the moments that split Star Wars fanatics right down the middle coming out of Rian Johnson's 8th episode of the Skywalker saga, Kylo Ren telling Rey to let the past die felt like arguably the most pointed and eye-catching of the lot.
Let the past die. Kill it, if you have to.
For many, this line summed up Johnson's approach to his feature as a whole, preferring to take the franchise in a bold new direction and leave the type of tired and already told tale many had come to expect from this Skywalker-centric epic in the past. And the delivery of Ren's speech later in the film, revealing to Rey that not only should the Sith, Jedi, and Rebels all die, but that the conflicted Jedi herself was a nobody, also left many feeling as though Johnson had made a point out of poking a hole in the fourth wall and laughing off all of the many theories fans had heading into the flick when it came to Rey's part in the story too. Despite some feeling bizarrely attacked by this meta theme of letting the past die throughout the divisive flick though, it's clear Johnson was simply looking to build on what fans knew and loved about those prior features and move the series on, as evidenced in Rey's arc in The Last Jedi. Number 2, Ashara Zavros hums the Imperial March, The Old Republic. Jumping into the video game corner of this galaxy far, far away for this next entry, and to a largely overlooked beat that actually alluded to the existence of John Williams' unmistakable score within the world occupied by Jedi and Sith. Coming during a sequence seen in the Old Republic video game, players witness Ashara Zavros hum a rather familiar tune as she gathers herself post, well, you know. Dun, 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 dun. But in showcasing Zavros' singing of the Imperial March, the question of how in the holy hell Zavros stumbled upon this tune in the first place quickly invaded many a Star Wars fans' minds. In all honesty, this was likely nothing more than a cute tip of the cap to one of the most recognizable pieces of music the galaxy has to offer. Number 1, George Lucas takes Darth to one side, LEGO Star Wars The Padawan Menace. LEGO's many various spins on everything from Marvel to Star Wars can always be counted on to take a few hilarious shots at that sacred fourth wall over the course of whatever video game or feature offering they have lined up next. And keeping with that penchant for taking a lightsaber to the imaginary divide between audience and action, a moment that sees Darth Sidious converse and chuckle with Asajj Ventress via hologram in LEGO Star Wars The Padawan Menace is soon interrupted by an unexpected cameo from a giggling Darth Vader. A familiar voice shouting "Cut!" followed by a record scratch for good measure then paves the way for none other than LEGO George Lucas to storm onto set to drag his disruptive and confused Sith out of the exchange.
Good. Darth, you want a donut?
Yum.
Somebody get Darth a donut.
Along with hilariously shining a light on this entire sequence being nothing more than a scene being shot for our entertainment, Lucas's acknowledging of the invading Sith as simply Darth was also a not-so-subtle nod towards the galaxy's creator now bizarrely referring to him as such in A New Hope, when Ben Kenobi comes into contact with his old friend. He may be a master of evil, but even Darths need a donut and a cuddle every now and again, you know. And that's our list. Know of any other times Star Wars broke the fourth wall? Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and I'm sure I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.